It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Well, today we have kind of an unusual show. Today there's only two of us, both myself, Dano from Illinois, and
me,
Bob.
Biker Bob 59, coming your way. But just call me Bob.
And where are you on the road today?
I'm actually not on the road. I'm actually sitting in Brandon. But
yep. And Smeg is under the weather, and G-Webs is to be determined.
Well,
so,
he's off the web, man. I think he might have just gone black, right? You know, because he's in all the secret ops. But we're not going to talk about that.
That's right.
Yeah. So, what are we talking about today?
So, let me go ahead and pull that up here just a moment. All right. First, let's go ahead and go through what are we going to be talking about this week during the show. Today we have our usual features along with how to use social media and some of the upcoming events for Monday. And then Tuesday, we have Second Amendment issues. Do you believe the Second Amendment holds the rest of the Constitution and the government in check? That will be one of the items tomorrow, along with how to buy your first gun and our State of the State section that we do every Tuesday. Then over on Wednesday, we have in entertainment, we have hunting tournaments coming up. And in our good idea, bad idea, big bore for EDC. So that's kind of an interesting concept as far as, you know, like a 44 Magnum, something like that for your everyday carry. Along with our hashtag showdown for our Instagram. And over on Thursday, under concealed carry, we have 911 call after the incident and what to say. Along with under gun stuff, accessories for home defense and carry. And then under training, we have households, good idea, bad idea. Not sure what that means exactly, but that's what somebody typed in there. Then on Friday, under gun tech, we have finish comparison, blued versus stainless versus parkerized versus Cerakote, etc. Under gun biz, we have how to find the next big thing that will sell. And the last item we have for this week on Friday under alternate gun topics is how much ammo do you have on hand? And that is what we'll be discussing this week. But before we actually start into the actual meat and potatoes of what we do on the show, anything new or interesting you want to talk about, Bob?
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to apologize to all the listeners and actually to the American people for the Canadian people. An apology from the Canadian people to the American people for what our government did, paying off a terrorist like that. It was done so underhandedly and sneaky. The government paid the guy off at midnight or at night so that his check could be deposited in a Swiss bank account before anyone in Canada knew what was happening. It was just the most underhanded, disgraceful thing any government could do. So, I mean, on behalf of the Canadian people, at least the 73% that have said this is atrocious. Sorry, guys. Like it was this liberal government we got that's just evil, and yeah, that just shows a level of depravity of these liberals. So, sorry, guys. The people were against it.
Yeah, I had saw that late last week, and I figured I'd wait till other people had seen it before I brought it up as a topic. And it's pretty bizarre that anybody would reimburse terrorists for anything, but it does show the mindset of some people who are in charge and power.
Yep. It is, yeah, it really is disgraceful. I mean, there's so many people I talk to that are just so outraged by it. And I mean, hopefully they'll not forget the outrage when we get an election in, I think it's 2 years. and they'll get rid of this joke. But yeah, it is really awful. It was. I think some of our politicians have actually gone down there and been on the news saying how appalled they are at it. So good on them. But anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted.
Right.
I want to make that point. So sorry, guys. Wasn't us. It was our stupid government. So blame the guy with the funny sock.
Well, I do have kind of I don't know if it's interesting, embarrassing, a little bit of both kind of a story. I want to go back to last week, and on Friday, I went out to work doing my usual thing that I do to make a little extra scratch money, and I was telling people all Friday, okay, at the end of the service, okay, enjoy the rest of your weekend, all night long, and then about 11:30 or so, I noticed that the places where I usually go to find customers is like the vast majority, everybody was already gone. It's like, well, it's kind of an early for a Friday night for people to be packing it up already. And so I said, not every Friday is a big day. So I just kind of decided, well, I'd go home and do something else for a little while. So I came home and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and, catch the Friday Daily Gun Show. So I start listening to the show, and all of a sudden I start hearing Bob and G-Webs wondering, where the hell is Dano? And I'm thinking, what do you mean, where's Dano? Dano don't do no Fridays anymore. And then you guys kept going on and on. Then finally I realized that all Friday, it was actually Thursday.
Good God, that's something I do all the time, but I'm retired.
So as far as why I wasn't here on Thursday, it's because it was Friday.
No, that's classic, man. Yeah, and you know what? It's going to happen to you, and it's going to all our listeners too. Once you're retired and you don't have to go to that 9 to 5 anymore, man, you can just lose track of time. I've had to think really hard to think what month it is,
Yeah. Well, I haven't had the month thing yet, but boy, and of course, by the time I realize this, it's 2 a.m. Friday morning. So it actually is Friday by the time I realize it's not Friday, it was Thursday. So it's kind of no one knew except for me what actually happened. And I thought I'd share that little tidbit out there.
Yeah, well, we had fun on you anyway. It's always fun when somebody's not there. You can just like badmouth them all the time. I know it happens. But anyway, yeah. So glad you're back. Glad you're here today, because I don't know. I probably couldn't start running the show by myself. I wouldn't know how to start it.
Yeah, and for those wondering why we're on YouTube only today, I'm having some technical issues embedding the video over on Gun Channels today. So rather than spending, another half hour trying to figure it out, after 3 times not working, I decided, well, we'll just do a YouTube show today, period, and cut to the quick and get the show started. So that's why we're doing what we're doing today. So today in our second segment, we have how to use social media. But before we get into that, we always like to bring up a Gun Channels member. And today is Never Enough Ammo, Matt.
Who's he?
And Matt has been here since before Gun Channels, since before YouTube had live hangouts over on, I believe it was Blog TV or some variation of that, doing this same sort of thing, whether it was just him answering live questions or some variation of that. He has definitely been one of, if not the longest member, certainly, in the top 2 of the longest members that there's been around, and certainly brings a lot of people to Gun Channels, as well as I think is a solid representation of what one aspect of Gun Channels is.
So are you watching the external chat? Apparently we can get on Gun Channels now. We're on Gun Channels now or something.
Oh, okay. Somebody fixed it for us?
Yeah, it says Moon fixed the Gun Channels feed.
Thank you, Moon, a.k.a. Autoloader on Instagram.
Yes, that's actually excellent.
Well, that's the least we can do is give him a little plug.
And this is what happens when you get two like old guys running the show, eh? We forget shit. Anyway, so what? We're
Never enough ammo.
Never enough ammo.
Channel member of the day.
Yes, I just don't. I can't place him. Is he a long-haired guy? Got like jewelry pierced through his face all over. Is that him?
Well, I'm pretty sure at some point about 20 years ago, he used to have hair.
Oh yeah, that's right. He lost all his hair. It all mostly fell out, so he just shaved it.
But then he got attacked by a staple gun, and ever since then he's been a very unique person.
Oh, I remember when he got that done. Everybody was like, "Are you crazy? Like, what are you doing?"
But he is definitely a solid part of gun channels, and I'm certainly glad he's here.
Yes, me too. Yeah, he does. He does keep gun channels going. He's got lots of stuff going on. So
okay. Next, we have how to use social media, and in this is an area that Bob and I are not necessarily as our strong suit. But we're just going to simply talk about some of the areas that we use it, as well as people that we know might be using it differently and how they're using it. And I'll go ahead and start myself. Obviously I use YouTube. I've made a number of videos on YouTube on this, that, and the other. I certainly enjoy using the live hangout as I'm on here regularly. It's nice to have a free way to reach out to people who are of a common mindset, not identical, because I don't want to. The one thing I'm always, in the back of my mind thinking of is I don't want to be in an echo chamber where I'm just hearing myself speak, because that has its own detriments as far as new ideas and new thoughts, new ways of doing things. And as we get older, Bob, sometimes we have a tendency to get stuck in a certain rut or stuck in a certain doing things in ways that are older, which may still be valid, but may not be valid because we've never bothered to reach out and see if there's still the proper way to do things. But YouTube and the gun channels, gun channels, that's new media, as well as the add-on to that, the Google Hangouts, are the primary ones that I use the most. I do enjoy Instagram. Instagram to me is much like, it's like eye candy. It's like, ooh, look at that cool picture of the gun and the details of the background that's behind it or that are on it or whatever. But it's after 60 seconds or so, you kind of move on to your next picture. So I enjoy it, but I enjoy looking at the pictures, not necessarily creating the pictures, as well as I myself just don't have that photographer's eye or that creative talent, to do that sort of thing as far as Instagram is concerned. And one that, with the exception of our United States president, one that I don't hear a lot about is Twitter. And so, I kind of wonder, with the exception of the rich and famous, if that's starting to wane in its popularity. And I don't know. I put that out there as a question.
I'm sorry, I missed the question, Dano. I had some stuff to add. We had a little water issue in the house at some point, and the guy was just coming to check on it. So, but
yeah. Oh no, that's okay. I was just saying that with Twitter, and I'll just try to repeat it quickly here. Is that kind of, as far as its popularity, going down, with the exception of the president, and whenever he puts a Twitter out there, that unless you're rich or famous, regular people really aren't using Twitter in a growing fashion. The numbers aren't rising; they're actually going down.
Yeah. Twitter's not as big as it used to be, although the people that are still big are huge.
Right.
It's kind of like YouTube, right? YouTube isn't going up like it used to, but it's still like the people who are being watched. It's almost like, there was lots and lots of channels, and now they're kind of weeding down until we'll get down to kind of a core of really popular channels, and there'll still be other out there, but I'm just saying, like, I think you're going to see, instead of all these, 200, a million subs, it'll kind of be like there'll be 1 million to 20 million subs, and those will be the big channels.
Right. And, I wonder if that's, part of its attraction was you could tell any of your friends or people that followed you what you were doing as of the moment. And I wonder if that advantage also became its downfall, as far as who really cares if Susie just went up and picked up the new brand of coffee at her favorite coffee house, and inserted a picture of it.
Who knew people would want to just tell people about what they were doing every minute of the day? There were people out there before there was Twitter that were like that. They were,
right.
So I think that's who really the Twitter really appealed to. And then, like you say, there's those people who just went, oh, it's just great if we're going to the beach, I can tell them where I'm at. I can just do a tweet. I don't have to send it to them. So, so that way, if they're following them, then they'll get the tweet. It's like getting you can send that way you can send a phone call to everybody that you're with, everybody in the group you're with. So as a communication device, I think it was great, but it was so open, it was such an open platform that those tweets went out to everybody, right? And or anybody who wanted to look for them or was, I guess, subscribed to, or whatever they call it. I don't know. I'm kind of making this up as I go along. So I think it is, right? I'm saying what I think it is. I have no idea if that's really what it is.
I guess, again, a question to our listeners that I have is in regards to Facebook, is that has attributes of Twitter kind of built within it. But since it has had such a huge amount of saturation within our society, since obviously people who are young and coming up are joining, but there's always people aging out of the system, so to speak, for one reason or another. Has Facebook, at least in the U.S., hit a point of kind of maximum saturation at this point? And I'd be interested in hearing on what some of our listeners think in regards to that. Or is there still plenty of people not using Facebook, that there's still plenty of room for more growth and more ways to use it than it's currently being used?
Possibly.
I mean, I don't use Facebook myself, and that's just probably more of a generational thing. I tend to call, email, maybe text people I actually want to talk to, or give an update about this, that, or the other.
Yeah, I don't really use it for that, but I have it. I just, it's just a thing. Every once in a while, I've got 10 minutes of time, and I go on Facebook, and an hour and a half later, I finally get off it. It's I don't know, man.
Right. We have a couple comments here. Tony says, I'm actually surprised at how Facebook has stayed as much as it has. Yeah, its staying power has also kind of surprised me as well. And then Pants mentions, never had a Facebook or Twitter account, never will. And I've certainly, we're right there with you, Pants. I've never had a Facebook or a Twitter account. Don't know if I never will, but I certainly see no reason at this point why I would, unless something changes. And of course, there's also some sub platforms of social media like Vimeo and other services that are out there, but those are kind of like tier 2 level social media, at least as far as how I see it in my mind, as compared to the Facebook and Google Hangouts and YouTube, and to a lesser degree Twitter. Like I said, Twitter is kind of like the weak sister of the main social medias. And if it wasn't for this president, I think it would even have died off even more. It's created more listeners to Twitter because they're waiting for that next crazy thing that he's going to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I say, I think I have an account on Twitter, I think. But yeah, with me, it's just like if my phone happens to have an app on it that broadcasts to everything I'm signed up to, that'll happen.
Right.
But
And
otherwise, yeah, I think we're kind of.
and a couple other comments here. Mood mentions Facebook turned into junk food of the webs for the masses. And CloverTech mentions from a business, organizational, etc. standpoint, you should all be working all the places you can reach all the people. So I guess from a business perspective, yeah, you never know which social media groups are expanding, which are contracting. But I think you're absolutely right. From a business point of view, you don't want to miss one customer, whether that's eyeballs, ears, whatever. You want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to hear what it is you have to say, service, sell, etc. So on the business side, yes, I guess I was viewing it from the perspective of personal aspect.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, yeah, for anyone who's in the business, yeah, you got to be on every platform you can figure out how to get on. I think it's one of the most important things. You know, they still advertise on the radio, they still advertise on TV, they still use billboards. It's really for a business. It's just another way to advertise. So, because if it's a fad, all of a sudden everybody's using this new app when they want to know about a place. Yeah, then they'll look for it on Facebook or YouTube or something, right? Twitter, Instagram. So yeah, why not take advantage of that? It doesn't really cost you anything.
Right. All right. Anything else on social media you want to mention today before we kind of move on?
No, I think we should move on. I think we've just kicked the heck out of that.
Next time we have is our event calendar. This is just simply kind of a review of some of the things that are out there. If you're a member of Gun Channels and you know of an event and it's not on this list, I would encourage you to log in and go ahead and enter that item in there. You never know who might be in your area or might be willing to travel to your area to check out the various events.
Could be just somebody who's maybe on a vacation, but's going to be in that area where he could take an hour to drive to this gun show or shooting event. So yeah, put it out there. Let's get the word out. Just because we're spread all over the country and the world doesn't mean we can't communicate and let each other know, just in case you're in the area. That's how Mika ended up at the Big Sandy machine gun shoot. All the way from Finland.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I say all the way from Finland, and when he was in Texas, we realized that it was the same date as Big Sandy, and he managed to, get a flight from wherever he was, Dallas or wherever, to Phoenix, and then rented the car. And yeah, we got a chance to go shooting. Did he shoot? Yeah, he shot. We had a chance to go shooting, and then him and I went out to Big Sandy, so we got to see Big Sandy and see the big night machine gun shoots and everything like that. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So events we have on our list. First one up this Wednesday in 2 days, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. We have the Outdoor Retailers Convention. So we have that to check out. And then on this Thursday at noon, we have TriggerCon, and that one I had not heard of before. TriggerCon is a 4-day event in Tacoma, Washington. It will include a range day and industry day open to media and industry attendees, and a final 2 days for enthusiasts. TriggerCon will showcase the newest, most innovative companies and products in the tactical firearms industry. So that sounds pretty interesting. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, I'd go to that.
So
that sounds cool.
I mean, because if you think about some of the different companies out there that make an upgraded trigger for whether it be an AR or whether it be for a Ruger 1022 or whether it be for some other handgun, a lot of places will sell it to you, but it's very much each trigger feels different, kind of like a pair of shoes. And there's single stage, there's two stage, but there's a lot more than that. There's the feel to it, which you can't really describe in words, where you actually need to put your hand on it and you know, quite literally practice pulling it a few times to get the feel of the trigger. Because you may want a two-stage trigger, but not all two-stage triggers with the same pound ratings are the same in regards to take up and feel and reset and all sorts of little other, you know, subcategories.
Well, just
And that's why I think that, I mean, and these things are not cheap. You know, it could be hundreds or $500 or more to get a drop-in trigger. And so if you're going to spend that kind of money, I very much think you ought to try before you buy, sort of a thing.
Well,
so I think there's definitely a place for a convention like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You know, triggers are quite complex little mechanical beasts, and I always find it just amazing that they can make triggers that feel so much alike. You know, that every trigger isn't a little bit different just because you look at the way it works and everything. It's like, wow, the tolerance is going to be really good on that thing. But then, you know, I'm not a gunsmith, so I get amazed at pretty simple things.
Right.
But anyway,
so the next we go out to August 26th with the 9th annual CCDL family picnic. And again, I'm not familiar with this one, so I'll go ahead and read a little ditty about it. It's the 9th annual CCDL family picnic. It's set for August 26th in Stratford, Connecticut at Booth Memorial Park. This picnic is free to our members. And for more details and a flyer will be published soon. So check back on Gun Channels. Whoever posted this is going to put some additional details up. I already see that it runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and a map is posted over on Gun Channels, so you can check that out as well. Again, so obviously it's not just a family, it's an organization.
Right.
Then after that, on September 9th, we have the CCDL Second Amendment Poker Run, which I used to ride motorcycles similar to Bob's, but slightly different. I was more of the Honda Goldwing crowd. Bob was the Harley crowd. We used to give each other the finger when we went by each other. No, I laughed. No,
I rode a Harley for a couple of years, buddy, and then I switched to Kawasaki, and that's where it stayed. I like to go fast.
Yeah.
I don't like to have to spend a fortune to do it.
For the most part, there's really no animosity between one group owner and another. Although everybody has their preference. I mean, just like a firearms platform. You know, if some guy loves an AR and another guy loves an AK, so, you know, so much will be some guy loves a Honda, another guy loves a Kawasaki, another guy loves a Harley. I
can't see loving a Honda. That's kind of like loving I don't know, a clone of a motorcycle. They're just Hondas.
I'm in love with never being left on the side of the road. That's what I'm in love with.
I never was with my Kawasaki unless I crashed it.
Unless, okay, now you're putting caveats.
Well, if you crash a bike, a lot of time you're not riding it away.
No, that is true. All right, then on September 9th, we have the black hole that people are attempting to suck me into called the Bullpup Shoot of 2017 in just outside of suburban Southwest Chicago. I don't see myself attending, although for the right dollar amount, I might be willing to be
you're just
encouraged to go.
You're just anti bullpup. You're bullpupophobic.
Well, you know, as you guys mentioned in Thursday/Friday show of the Steyr AUG being 40 years old, if it was that great of an idea, wouldn't it have gotten a lot more traction at this point? Bullpups in general. Now, yeah, there have been a few out there.
It's still being used. It was like the countries that said, I'm going to take a chance with that one. This is the best thing ever. And that's why they still use it. I mean, China's building them now, for God's sakes. If China's switching to a bullpup, then more people are going to own a bullpup than any other country in the world. So it will become the most popular gun. It'll just be Chinese instead of, Israeli or, oh, wow. How many companies are making them now? Pretty much a pile, right? So,
well, I'm sure that explains why no armies and Marines around the world have carbines or full-length battle rifles anymore. I mean, they've gone the way of the dodo bird, all because of these bullpups, right?
yeah, basically, that's why you got M4s, right? It's to shorten up.
M4 is not a bullpup. According to what you said, they have become obsolete, M4s, as well as M16s.
And that's why your M4s have such short barrels now for all the guys to carry.
FALs, obsolete.
They're trying to make them as short as a bullpup. They're willing to give up
AKs, obsolete, all because of the bullpup.
It's not a bullpup chat, Dano. We can stop this anytime because we do know the bullpup is a superior design and is going to eventually win us.
All right. We have a few more events to go. September 16th, we have Tombstone Territorial Days. Have you heard of that before, or heard G-Web give a description of a little bit about it?
No, I think it's just like, they have reenactment gunfights. I don't know. It's Tombstone. It's a weird little town. Kind of town stage, I don't know, tourist area. So I don't know what it's going to be about. Maybe I'll have a rodeo. That'd be cool. I always like rodeos.
And I'm looking at a flyer for it. It's the Tombstone Territorial Day, September 17th, 18th. Wait a minute. This is a flyer from last year, 2016. Who the heck posted this thing?
I don't know, but it's probably the same time every year.
But then it says, yeah. From starts, well, this can't be right. So it starts at 2 a.m. I think maybe 2 p.m. Again, another mistyping by the person who entered it in there. But the Tombstone Territorial Days, if you're down anywhere near the area, might be worth checking out. Then after that, we have the Texas International Firearms Festival, thanks to Edge of the Week on September 30th for bringing our attention to that for the first time last year. It's not the first time that it's been around, but it's the first time that we've been made aware of it over on Gun Channels.
I think he was there the year before.
Last year.
The year before.
Has it been 2 years now?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. And then followed by October 6th, we have the Ohio Cartridge Show, which I'm sure is a show that G-Webs would love to go to if he had the opportunity.
Well, he's a van now. Probably sleeping in the van, hugging it.
Yeah, he's in the van down by the river.
Yeah.
And then on October 7th, we have the biannual Trinity Site Tour of the first above-ground atomic blast. And I'm sure that would be a blast. Well, maybe not. It's apparently, from what G-Web says, it takes an hour and a half to once you get on the bus, to get out to the Trinity site. And then whenever you're done out there, of course, it's an hour and a half back. So it's 3 hours of traveling.
Yeah. And you got to take your own vehicle or you can take a bus. I'd like my own vehicle just so I could say I drove through where they tested the first atomic bomb. I think that'd just be cool. Have my dog go out and pee. Oh, if I got to do that before T-Webs did, would he be mad?
Okay, and that is events for event calendar as of this week. Now, I'm just going to go straight across our show notes here, just for the simplicity's sake.
Yep.
You picked a certain gun of the day.
I did.
I'm going to, if you can give me a moment, because this is not exactly a smooth running show. I will attempt to pull up some images. My computer is not the fastest.
That's all right. Neither are you. Oh, burn.
Somebody making comments out there about me?
No. Yeah, other than like we've got angry
Okay.
Americans saying, well, I think this is about the bullpup. Countries that use it: China, Israel, Australia, Austria, Belgium. So
Okay, I have the, I'm sharing the screen of the images of the Ithaca Auto and Burglar.
right, that's what it was designed for. It was this was before the NFA, of course, but it was designed in the kind of in the 20s. Ithaca said, "Oh, we need something. We could take one of our break action shotguns, and we could make something that would be great for home defense." So they put a pistol grip on it, kind of bent the trigger back, yeah, that was home defense for your car or your home. You know, imagine that on your night table. Somebody breaks in, kaboom!
So I'm looking at one right now, and I'm kind of moving my mouse around a part of the grip. There's like this little horn that sticks up. Is that supposed to be for like lay your thumb over on it or something?
No, actually, what it's there for is so that when you fire, if it was just a smooth grip, your hand could slide up into the ejector lever or the brake lever to break the gun.
Okay.
Which would really hurt. So that's why you'll see.
Okay, so your thumb goes under it, not over it.
Yeah, no, your thumb is under it. Yeah. I mean, it's really, it must have been terribly uncomfortable to shoot, I would think. But that was the thing. It was this is your defense gun, right? So you had a double barrel, usually 20 gauge, I think. They do make 12 gauge ones, but the 20s, I guess they made 28s and 16s too, I think. But
well, the one I have a picture of up right now says it's a 12 gauge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's kind of interesting is they have a nickel inserted into the chamber of one of the bores, just for size reference.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that makes them really rare because there weren't as many 12 gauge because, you know, it would hurt to fire it. I mean, you could do it, but apparently that was one of the things. And it was this was you keep it in your car or you keep it in your house, and that was your home defense tool. You know, it was in those days, they thought that was adequate. 2 rounds of
now you mentioned this was pre-NFA, of course, but so what time period were these was it designed and manufactured?
I think around 1920s. They were really popular because that's when there used to be like car bandits who would just step out in the road and steal your car and then drive to the next street, and you couldn't do anything about it, right? Because there were no state police.
Well, so I guess that type of crime is not exactly new.
No, heck no. Yeah.
Today we call it carjacking.
Right. That's basically what it was. Carjacking used to happen in the 20s, so people would buy these.
Carjacking in the 20s.
Yeah. So anyway, wouldn't that discourage a would-be carjacker? You know, just put that.
I would think just about any firearm would discourage.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of the caliber, any hole that you weren't born with is a bad hole.
Yeah, but that'd be a big hole. Anyway, I think it's kind of interesting that, you know, this used to be just common. You could buy them. Of course, after the NFA went through, well, if you wanted to own one of those, you still could. It's under any other weapon. And that tax stamp used to be $200. So being it was only a $40 gun, it didn't make sense, right? So Ithaca is producing them. So yeah, it's a gun that was killed by the NFA. Otherwise, we could all just carry these on our hip and stuff.
That would be kind of cool, I think, anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, people look at you funny, that's for sure.
So,
pants. Oh, that'd be a good biker sidearm. Great for snakes.
Do you have access to the comments over on YouTube or gun channels?
I have the YouTube ones up.
Okay, that's good enough. Because then I'm going to pull a little surprise. That's right. You thought it was impossible. But I say it's not. It's always possible. It's time for the tactical pop quiz of the day. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, limber up your fingers. Put your cursor down in the text box. Now, Bob, you are responsible for looking at the YouTube box. I will keep an eye on the Gun Channels box. And all I want you to say is if you see the correct answer to the question is just say the word winner.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how it
and
works.
remember
I
the
just
person's name.
refreshed it, so yeah, I refreshed it, so yeah, we should
Okay, so I'll read the question twice. I will keep an eye on Gun Channels. You keep an eye on YouTube. I realize this sounds very professional, but hey, we do what we got to do. So here it is. The question was sent in by Angry American, so thank you very much, Angry. And if any of you all out there want to help us with the Tactical Pop Quiz of the day, please send in an email to dailygunshow@gmail.com, subject Pop Quiz, with the question, answer, and a link to where you got the answer from. We would appreciate it greatly, and we are in need of questions. So the question for today is, what year was the .480 Ruger introduced? What year was the .480 Ruger introduced? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. It was not 42. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Actually, I have the special effect. I'd turn that on, except I'm afraid if I switch screens, somebody's going to post the correct answer.
Got it here.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Winner.
It was not 1988.
Winner.
Not 1971.
Winner. Winner.
Okay, winner. Congratulations. Who is our winner for today's Tactical Pop Quiz?
Jared Walsh. He got 2003.
Correct, Jared. It is 2003 is when the .480 Ruger was indeed introduced. So congratulations, Jared. You are today's Tactical Pop Quiz winner for today. And I'll hand the baton over to Bob.
You know, that makes you the Tactical Hot Shot of the Day.
All righty. Good job, Bob. I think if Smeggy is listening, he's trying to give you a thumbs up with all the strength that he has in his thumb. And good job, Jared.
You probably could do it with those tiny little skinny long arms of his, you know. Imagine all the weight with all that bone and everything. No, probably, yeah, but I'm sure he was thinking a thumbs up. I'll give him that.
Have you, without saying what it is, have you seen the gun movie for today?
I actually
I have not. And if you have not, then we'll leave that for another day.
No, I haven't. So, yeah, let's leave that. Yeah, I don't feel like doing a gun movie.
All right. Something I want to cover is, while we're here, is Gun Channels tonight or Gun Channels today. I forget what we're calling it recently. Today is Monday, if I have it correct. Do I have it correct, Bob? Is today actually Monday? Or is it Thursday still?
It's Monday.
Okay, that's good. Because that means Matt, Never Enough Ammo, did you catch that link to earlier on our Gun Channels member of the day? It's going to be on probably in about 45 minutes, I think.
Oh, cool.
I think that's when he comes on. And also we have Hawaii Volcano Squad coming on usually about the time that Matt ends or just before Matt ends. Hawaii HVS, Hawaii Volcano Squad comes on, kind of does a prepper-based, but not solely prepper sort of a show. I don't know. I don't want to pin him into a corner, but at least that's my impression. And sort of a show. And it's interesting if you're interested in those topics, as am I. And, of course, we always have a lobby going pretty much almost most of the day and most of the evening. That anytime something's on, you can come in. If there isn't a lobby running, you can start one on your own. Anyone who's a member of Gun Channels has the ability to start a lobby. And if you need help, you usually just have to ask, find somebody, one of the old timers, not necessarily myself, old as far as time on gun channels to help you out, and they're more than usually happy as long as they got time to help you get up and running.
Yeah, well, there's nothing some people like more than giving you advice on how to do things that you're doing wrong.
That's true.
Which is
that
a good
is true.
thing, because then you can figure it out. Yeah.
Now, I don't think, and maybe I can see it out in the comments, Clover Tack, I don't think you have anything on today. Is that correct? We'll wait for him to respond out in the comments, but I don't think he has anything on. I think we just have HVS and Matt for tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, we should actually, if you want to support this madness, you can support us on Patreon. The link will be in the channel description. Anyway, anything you do helps us out. Right now, we're, I think, at a point where the Patreon's almost paying for the show. It's not paying anybody else, but it's almost paying for what it costs to post the show and stuff. So, and for the servers or whatever. Servers? I don't know how any of this shit works. But yeah, if you want to support us on Patreon. If not, just go buy patches at gun channels and t-shirts and hats. Do we have hats? We should have hats. I want a hat. Anyway.
And I think, although today has been kind of a truncated show. It's, first of all, there's only two of us. I'm not making excuses. I'm just stating the fact. And the other is that we weren't exactly aware that it was going to be a two-person show until we were ready to go. So that shows our lack of preparedness. Not an excuse, simply a fact. Anything else, Bob, you have on today's agenda or something you would like to throw out there before we end the show?
The show still bloody well went on, so hey.
Yep.
We might be old and crotchety, but hey, we made it work.
Yep. So with that, I think that's all I have. I want to thank you for listening, and please be prepared.
Oh, wow. Be prepared.
Unless you got something else.
Boy Scouts. No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being prepared. I agree with that completely. So we like
that's my mantra, my thing.
Yeah. Okay. You're like, Scooch? Doesn't Scooch do that? I don't know. Anyway, we like to end our show with a quote. Today is by George Washington. Before that, I just want to thank everybody for watching and listening, and remind you to give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Anyway, George Washington's quote: "Laws made by common consent must not be trampled on by individuals," which I read as, if the law says no religion in schools, then there shouldn't be Muslim prayer rooms in schools. To be fair. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching and listening. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with more hosts so that you can be entertained instead of just puzzled. So thanks everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com. The guys and gals of GunWebsites.